Good day, everybody. It's a pleasure to welcome you here. I not only want to welcome you to this class and this presentation, but I also want to welcome you to education in general. There's much I want to talk about today, not only about what we're hoping to learn, hear, see, even to feel once we leave this class, but I want to tell you a bit about what I hope you attain out of our next adventures in the coming weeks. Definitely to increase your professional aspirations. That's certainly the goal of anyone who returns to a course or returns to a class or a program, to a university, or just to hear a presentation by another person. We want to advance ourselves in our standard of living. I also hope we advance ourselves personally. What do we mean by personally? That we become a better person and do better things. Throughout the course of these next few minutes, I'm going to introduce myself and some of my philosophies related to education. See, I have a lot of quotes. I love quotes. Quotes remind us of what's important. If you were to look in front of my desk, you'll see I have quite a few quotes in front of me, some of which you'll hear in the next couple minutes. They mean something to me, but they remind me about the way that I hope and want to live this life. We'll start with this one, which is directly related to education. It says, if you educate the mind, we can better the person. But if we educate the soul, we can better the world. If you want to replace the word soul with heart, it's the same kind of concept. I hope that we can educate your mind, that you can think better, make better decisions, have more knowledge to do what we hope is the right thing. Can you imagine if every person educates their mind and becomes a better person? But yet we go a bit further, and we tell people the whys, the why we want you to be educated, the why we want you to make better decisions, the why we want you to gain more knowledge. We want you to do that because we want you to be better, and we want you to do something better. That's the hope. The word better really is the root of education in my mind. And so for me, I remember as a teacher, as a faculty member, as a presenter, that yes, I want to educate a person's mind, but I also want to educate their soul so that when they leave whatever forum we've just attended, they do something with what they have. There's this great story by Lee Iacocca. Lee Iacocca was the president of Ford Motor Company. He actually got fired, and then he became the president of Chrysler. And he became the president of Chrysler making $1 a year because they were going through bankruptcy. And one of the things he said is, if you can buy a better car, buy it. He was trying to promote the Chrysler brand. Really interesting, actually. Anyway, when he was growing up, he had some great educations from his parents, great educations from his schools. And at one point they told him, they said, Lee, now do something with what we have. Do something with what we gave you. The whole words of do something filled his mind, and he spent the rest of his life trying to figure out, what exactly can I do? Where can I do it? What difference can I make? That is the hope in this thought. Brings us up to who I am. We always want to know who a person is because we want to know what we can learn from that person. There's people that have been presidents and kings and secretaries of state and whatever it may be, and we want to know what brought them to where they became, because we want to follow what they did to become who they became. It's really a great lesson. If I want to be X, this is what you have to do. This is at least what they did. I can emulate their progress. So professionally, I was an HR director. I was an HR director for 2 California cities, for the University of California, and then also worked in the governor's office through a JPA, which is a Joint Powers Authority, as an HR director as well. So I have about 25 years as an HR director. For about 5 years, I served as a library director of a municipality, the city. Interesting kind of aspect. Never had any desire to be a library director, but the position came open. And I actually did both jobs as an HR director and a library director for about 5 years. For about 2 years. And at the end of the 2 years, I became the library director for a total of 5. It's one of the great experiences of my life. We took a library that wasn't functioning, wasn't meeting the needs and strategies of its population. We ended up raising millions of dollars. We created a learning center for K through 8 children, free. We created a learning center for teens, over $1 million. First one of its kind in the county. It's an amazing accomplishment. We also revitalized the entire library. We increased circulation, we increased attendance. Actually an amazing accomplishment of a group of people, not only myself and the staff, but the foundation. We left that place better than we found it. You can imagine if we all did that, and no matter what environment we're in. That's professionally. As an author, I've written 10 books. A Nation of Businesses is one, Taking the Right Road. The Great People of Our Time was one that I really enjoyed. I wrote a book called The Good Manager, A Guide to the 21st Century Manager. I wrote a couple other books too. One related to the meaning of life. It was actually my second book. Maybe among the most successful books that I've had. I really enjoyed that. So much of that philosophy in the meaning of life frames who I am and what I've become. So I'm glad I got to talk about it a little bit here. Teaching. I've taught many years as a university professor. Within the university profession, I've been a dean of business. I've been a department chair for about 5 or 6 years. I was a director of faculty for a number of years. I served as a faculty liaison for faculty to the university president and provost. Really enjoyed that experience. Got to work with great people, represent great people, and talk about great subjects, such as how best we can deliver education to our students. I was also a university mentor and trainer, still serving that role today. Love teaching. Teaching is about discipline. It's about teaching discipline, but it's also becoming disciplined yourself. And one of the great things about being a teacher is we study as much on information that we present to our students as we do about ourselves and how to become a better teacher. As I mentioned, being an author, I have those two aspects, one on top of the other, because being an author has allowed me to be a better teacher. It's not only provided me with the information to teach in the classroom, but it's certainly changed my fundamental directions and philosophies. Philosophy means love of wisdom, and it's something that really has framed what I want to do. Again, that do something comes from being somewhat of an author, of which I apply in teaching. Educationally, I have a doctorate in education and leadership from the University of Pacific. University of Pacific is a great school. It was the oldest, still is, the oldest university west of the Mississippi. I believe it's 1856 it was founded. Small liberal arts school, about a couple hours of where I live. My son went there as well, got an engineering degree. I have a master's of public administration from the University of Southern California, USC, and then I also have an MBA as well. So hopefully that gives me a broad background. My bachelor's is in finance, so I have a degree in finance, public administration, business administration, and education. Hopefully it gives, again, this more well-rounded approach that I can bring into a classroom. This well-rounded approach, we hope, not just professionally, but also as an author, teaching, and educationally, allowed me to come up with a concept that says that you can be just about anything you want in life. You can do just about anything you want in life if you work hard, be kind, and never give up. I have a saying, if anybody ever gets an email from me, if you look in front of my desk, as I mentioned earlier, to always look for the good along the road of life. We'll talk about that in a bit. That framework on how I view life has come up with this quote, which is, you really can be anything you want. If you work hard, be kind, and never give up. Working hard forms the foundation of just about everything that somebody wants to accomplish. My grandma used to say, you've got to have work worth doing. And if you have work worth doing, then you're going to work hard at that work that is worth doing. Being kind is important because no matter who you are or where you go in life, if you have a basic sense of kindness, it gives you what I call many passes in life. If you mess up or make a mistake, if people recognize you as a kind person, they say, well, yeah, but they're so nice. They're such a kind person. It's amazing what you can overcome if you have a sense of kindness. And then never give up. I remember the old Churchill saying, Churchill came to the United States and gave a speech. He went up to the podium, took off his hat, put down his cigar, and said, "Never give up." Waited a little bit, said, "Never give up." Waited a little bit, one more last time, he said, "Never give up." And that was the entirety of his speech. That's how much that man believed in the ability to just never give up. Never. I remember that story because it has so many, it has so much relevance to what it takes to really be successful. Of course, policies and expectations, there's numerous ones. You'll find that at the root of what I hope to do in a classroom is related to the policies. You'll see I have quite a few announcements in the class. You see my participation is amazing. That's because I like what I do. I really like what I do. I'm in the class just about every day, certainly 6 days a week. The announcements are anywhere from 3 to 4 a week. Some people say I had too many announcements. Probably true. But I feel like I have so much information that I want to convey in such a short period of time. Announcements are one of the only ways that I can do it. However, if you find there's too many, just save them or read them later or just don't read them. The hope is we provide you a platform, and whether you choose to read it or not or follow it or not, it's certainly up to you. But I find my duty is to at least provide that platform. Read what you like, as they say. Grading, I think I'm a pretty good grader, an easy grader maybe, a bit more on the easier scale. I follow whatever the guidelines are. I don't feel like I'm overly concerned with the writing aspect. I'm much more about the content of it. If you have great content, if you have great philosophies, then you only have to have somebody help you bring them out. I hope I do that, but I'm much more interested in content. Late policy, I'll follow the requirements. You'll find that I don't make exceptions. It's not that I'm hard as far as the rules are, that I'm even cold. It really comes from wanting to treat everybody fairly. I want to treat everybody the same. I don't want somebody to be treated differently for one reason or another, whether it's the situation they had or the challenge they had. I just try to treat people exactly the same, and I hope people appreciate that. And if they don't, certainly give me a call. But that's my philosophy, is to follow the policy, to not deviate from it, and that way everybody can come and leave whatever environment we're in, knowing that I've treated them exactly the same as I treat everybody else. If you contact me, I love phone calls. Hopefully you get out of this presentation. I love talking. I love talking to people. I love finding out about who people are, what they want to do, where they want to go, how I can help them get there. Those are things to me that really make a difference. So if you have any questions or comments or want to see more or less of something, call me. If you want to email me, that's fine too. I have a couple of personal emails that are very easy to find, and certainly email me there. deangualco@gmail.com is a great one. And so there's no dots or underlines, just deangualco@gmail.com. And I will answer you. I love it. I think it's great. If I can help you along your way, I strive to do that, because there's so many people that helped me along my way. And I want to ensure that I'm a person that gives back and not just takes. Another quote, and this talks about what we want to do in a class. It goes back to doing something. We can't choose the cards we're dealt, but we can choose how to play them. I remember this just about every day. I tell my children every day, well, you can't choose the cards you're dealt, but you really can choose how to play them. There's so many people that have adversities in life. You'll never meet a person who doesn't have some form of adversity in their life. My uncle was in a wheelchair for about 65 years of his life. There's really no rhyme or reason why he was and I'm not. And I think about that, maybe not every day, but it certainly frames the reference of which this quote comes from. Maybe, just maybe, when you look at people who've had adversity in their life and you reflect upon them, it changes your philosophy. Again, philosophy means love of wisdom. It changes the way that you interpret events. Based on the way he was raised in a wheelchair, I thought to myself, gosh, he couldn't change the cards that he was dealt, but he sure played them well. And I want to do the same thing. There's things in my life I wish were different. I wish I had some things that other people have, or at least so you think so. But when you really think about it, I'm pretty happy with the cards I was dealt. Whether I'm happy with them or not, I'm certainly going to play them. And whether I have challenges and adversities that I wish I didn't have, I'm going to play the cards I dealt. I'm going to make the most of those cards. I often say that some people are born on third base and never make it home. Some people are born on first base and make it around time and time again around the infield. So it doesn't matter where you're born. It matters what you do with what you're born. Same concept here. You can't choose the cards you're dealt, but you can choose how to play them. I hope in this class we give you more cards. Not just professionally, but personally. Not just education, but what to do with education. We give you those cards. You then, when you leave, choose how to play them. An interesting, I think, quote. That brings us to what makes a good teacher. What I aspire to do in this teacher, whether it's a presenter of a course, whether it's a presenter of some topic at a conference, my hope is I do three things whenever I stand before a group, before I converse about a subject. I want people to say that this person was knowledgeable, they cared, and that they make learning fun. Whether in kindergarten or as a dissertation advisor, I think knowledge is really fundamental to being a good teacher. Obviously, you can be a nice person and people can enjoy your company, but that doesn't mean that they're going to learn the lessons that they need in order to succeed in their career. Knowledge is a foundational aspect of just about any career that a person has. The knowledge to be an engineer starts with a person who understands calculus and physics. And that knowledge has to be at the forefront of what a person learns in school. The hope is that no matter what course I'm teaching, people leave and say, I have more knowledge today than I did before I came into class. We, of course, hope they say, well, I have a great more deal of knowledge than before I came into this class. Care, somebody who cares, very similar to kind. I want people to see that I'm a very kind person. And hopefully, maybe not more than knowledge, but hopefully people leave this class saying, I want to be a kind person like that person. Can you imagine in the world in which we live if we had more kind people? Not only somebody who says, how are you, but actually means how you are. If anybody asks how I am, you'll notice I won't just say fine. I'll actually tell people exactly how I'm doing. And I do that because I really feel, maybe not truthfully, but I feel that when people ask, how are you, that they really want to know how you are. And I want to tell them more than just fine. I actually want to say, well, let me tell you. Today, what made the day so great is that I got to do A or B or C. I hope that kindness and careness comes in the way I interact with people, by the way I present myself in these types of forums. Brings us to the last one, make learning fun. I remember this great story about a person who went to this function, and his family said, that person doesn't like that function. And they asked him one day, why do you go to that function? In fact, you go to that function repeatedly, often, continually. And we know that that is not an area or subject that you enjoy. And they go, well, my friends go there. I go to see my friends. Can you imagine if you went to a school or went to a course or even went to some speech that you hear somebody's giving simply because you like the people that go there? Or you like the person that is giving that speech? That's fun. There's few people that give up eating their favorite food. I love chocolate. I can eat chocolate all day. I wish I could eat more chocolate. Chocolate is one of the great pleasures in life for me. That and Diet Dr. Pepper, a cherry flavor, by the way. It is now Dr. Pepper Zero. I never give up a chance to eat chocolate and also have Dr. Pepper Zero. Can you imagine if our school was like that, a class was like that, a presentation was like that. No matter what you're presenting, people are going to go to that presentation because it's fun, it's interesting. It makes them feel better when they leave than when they walked in. Education is about obtaining knowledge from your instructor, learning from a person who you feel is kind and cares about you, and then, no matter where you are, makes the experience fun. Brings us to what I think is the most important deliverable or goal of education. What I hope that a person leaving a class that I just instructed, a person leaving a presentation that I've given, whether it's to 10 people or 1,000 people, I hope that they leave that presentation, I hope they leave that class, and feel in their heart of hearts that they are someone good, and given that they're someone good, that they're going to do something great. Again, that doing something with what you have. Be someone good, because if you're someone good, then you're going to work on something good. You're going to work on the environment, or you're going to work on education. You're going to work with other people who maybe not have it as good as you do. Because goodness begets goodness. Be someone good and do something great. If everybody that we meet has as their goal in life to be somebody good and to do something great, so much of what ills, whatever environment we see out there that we wish would be different, would be gone. With that, everybody, always look for the good along the road of life. There is good if only we choose to look for it. Take care.